My name is Omoshola Fiberesima, and today I am conducting this amazing interview with Pauline, which is a special podcast on behalf of Hummingbird Club in Catford. And we're going to be going on a journey down memory lane, spotlighting stories, sacrifices, resilience, generational influences, and community impact within the borough of Lewisham. We're also going to be aiming this to highlight the impact on the Windrush. So, Pauline, you are very welcome to this special interview, and I'm looking forward to having conversation with you. I'm going to do less talking. I'm going to be asking the question. We're going to be going down memory lane. And my first question is, introduce yourself and tell us about your background. How did you come into Lewisham?
Okay, good afternoon. Hi, Emoshia. Yes, thank you so much for having me. Well, my name's Pauline Palmer, and I've been working with Claire now for a few years. And I've just, my background is that I'm a clinical nurse specialist, but I've retired. I was working at St. Christopher's Hospice, and I've been working there since 1997. So it's quite a long time, so only over 20 odd years. And the hospice we specialise in palliative care. So we're looking after patients mainly in their own home, but we get referrals, and it's patients who have got life-limited illnesses, and palliative care is looking after their pain and their symptom control, and also psychological support as well. And it's a kind of a complete care. So you also look at their well-being, their mental health, that also if they needed any kind of because at the time when patients have got life-limited illness, and this is to do with cancer or coming to the end of life with they've got sort of end-stage renal failures or anything to do with end of life, and that can affect the patient as well as the family. So we look after the patients as well as the family to do with their illness. And I was just very passionate in this kind of field. And so when I retired, I wanted to continue to care for patients and to care for people. And so when Claire rang me, I go to church in Dulwich, and Claire is kind of attached to that church as well, in a sense that she knows people there. So she was looking for volunteers, and I just quickly introduced myself and volunteered to be involved, because I am, as I say, I'm very passionate, and I still wanted to care for people in that sense.
That's a really, really rich start. I'm going to come back to that because I know that you did talk about looking after patients, but it would also be nice to find out about how do you self-care? How do people within, and when I say you, fellow colleagues within that space, how do you self-care? But I just want you to park that question. I'm going to come back to that when I maybe possibly look at your strength. But I want to go back and take you back to Lewisham, the beginnings of Lewisham, the childhood of Lewisham.
Yeah.
What do you remember of Lewisham as at that time? I'm going to be going all over the place because we are celebrating you. We are celebrating your life within Lewisham, your loyalty to Lewisham by default, even if you don't realize it. You've been really, I don't want to use the word contained, but you've been within Lewisham for a very long time. Tell us about the beginning. Did you come into Lewisham by design? Was it through parents?
I came to England from Jamaica in 1967, around about that time, probably a bit late. And so at the time I went to, and we lived in Lewisham, so we lived in Hither Green. So I came with my sister, and I came to meet my mum. And at the time my mum had 3 other children while they were here. So I stayed with my grandmother in Jamaica, and so I came here in Lewisham to be with my mum and my dad. We lived in Hither Green, and I went to primary school in Hither Green for about a year, and then I went to secondary school in Lewisham. We moved to Sydenham, and then I went to secondary school in Sydenham. So I've been there all my life. And then when I say yes, so here for quite some time. So I went to secondary school in Sydenham, and when I left secondary school, I worked in Catford, in Woolworths. I don't know if you remember the Woolworths.
I do remember Woolworths.
So I worked there when I was 17, actually, working. And in fact, 2 of the ladies that's in Hummingbird also worked there at the time. One of them was my boss, and then the other one was just a colleague as well. So we're still working together. And so when I worked as a Saturday school, and then as a Saturday job, and then after leaving the Saturday job, I went on to do my training as a nurse. So I had to leave home at that time. So I moved out of Lewisham for 3.5 years to do nursing. But I came back and had my children back to Sydenham, really, and had 2 boys. I got married in Sydenham. Got married in the church on Sydenham Road. So I've been living here for a long time. So Lewisham is kind of my home and my roots and everything to me, really. And my children are still living in Lewisham. So one of them is living in
Wow.
Forest Hill at the moment, and one has just moved away into Bromley. But he works in Lewisham. So he works in a school. He's a teacher. He works in a school in Lewisham. The other son has moved away. So yeah, so I did my district nurse training as well in Lewisham. And having said that, one of the lady that I worked with, also I met her in Hummingbird as well when I was doing district nursing. So I met her in Hummingbird. So yeah, so Lewisham has been my home and my roots for such a long time, and I still haven't gone very far. I've recently moved, but I come back to Lewisham because all my family, my mum still lives in Lewisham, lots of friends and family.
And
Yeah.
that tells me that you've seen Lewisham evolve. You've seen Lewisham change. I mean, you talked about Woolworth, which was there and is gone. Some people might not even know what was that, and that's disappeared. Let's talk about the environment. What was the environment like then, and what is it like now? I mean, I know going into Lewisham itself, the Lewisham Centre, within the last couple of years, that's been transformed. British Home Stores, there's
Yes,
so many things
yes,
that I
yes,
remember about Lewisham. How has Lewisham
absolutely.
evolved for you? What are the things that you miss that have gone, and what are the things that have changed? I mean, that you've said, okay, that's gone, but this is here right now.
I do miss CNAs. I used to love going to CNA, British Home Stores, and Lewisham has just changed now. And I don't know whether it's for the better or not. We just have to wait and see, because my mum lives in Lewisham, and going through Lewisham, it's an absolute nightmare with traffic. Or when I was growing up and driving through Lewisham, you could park and go into shops. Now you can't park anywhere in Lewisham. So things have really, really changed. But I'm hoping it's changing for the better, and because it's a lovely place. And I walk down Lewisham High Street and I walk down Catford, and I do see people that I know, and we can still say hello. And the other day, I know this isn't Lewisham, but there's a shop in Deptford. We used to go to Deptford a lot to shop on a Saturday. And the other day I was walking through Lewisham, and I just saw a lady and I said, "I know you." And she said, "Yes, you used to come and buy shopping for me in Deptford." So
Wow.
it's a beautiful place to live. Yeah, yeah,
You said something I'm going to pick up on, and you
yeah.
mentioned that behind the scene to me earlier, your mom being a nurse. Did that have anything to do with you as a person in terms of you going into the same profession? If not, what was the thing that triggered nursing for you?
I think I've always been passionate about caring for people, and it could maybe my mum had some influence, but because she started working in Sydenham Children's Hospital as a nurse, and then that moved to Lewisham, and she was looking after children in Lewisham. So that did have some influence on me on why I wanted to do nursing. But I think I've always wanted to be a nurse ever since I was little. That's looking after people. I remember when my dad used to come home from work, I just make sure he get his shoes ready, helped him with his dinner, and I've always been a caring person. When I went and did nursing, that was my passion, that was my inspiration to do it and to care for people. And my mum still, although she lives in Lewisham, she's in a home at the moment because she's got senile dementia. So I try to visit her regularly, and sometimes she's still got that caring instinct. So when the bell rings, somebody calling, I see she's instantly want to get up to go and what's happening? Why are they not answering that bell? She still wants to go and care, and so she's still got that passion for caring, although she's elderly herself.
I also wanted to pick up on the word care because you talked about care. And I can
Yeah.
see that it's a family trait because whether you're a nurse or whether you're a teacher, I believe you did say that your son is in the teaching profession. Did I get that right?
Yes. Yes.
So there is that thread of care that is going through the family, and also bringing it back into Lewisham. Because if you're listening to this interview, it's really about spotlighting the richness of people that have lived and evolved with Lewisham. Was there anything that your son took from you that you felt, okay, he may not necessarily have gone down the nursing route, but he's still gone down the caring route? There must be something about what he's seen that has made him go there.
Well, I know that when I was studying to be a nurse, I was studying a lot during the night as well. And they would see that,
Yeah.
and my son would say, "Oh, Mum, you're still studying, why can't you just give that up and look after your children?" But I just wanted to study to get as far as I wanted to go. When I qualified as a clinical nurse specialist, that was an inspiration for me to know that I can specialize in caring for people and also giving doctors and nurses advice, because it was a specialized palliative care was a specialized subject, a specialized medicine. So you had to know a lot about the medication that patients who are terminally ill needs. We worked a lot with making sure that we know what medication is ideal and is going to help and give those patients pain-free and symptom control. So I was absolutely passionate that I was able to help doctors and give them that information and give professional nurses that information as well. I just wanted to learn. I just wanted to do a lot of learning and getting information. And I think he saw that, and that's why he want to be a teacher. And yeah, and he's working in Lewisham now in one of the top schools in Lewisham. So I'm
Wow.
really proud of him.
So really, it's really full circle, generational, from mom,
Yeah.
yeah, from grandma, your mom, down to the child, and their children also will be seeing that same scope. Now, even without asking, I can feel the passion in what you do. And I said I was going to park the question and come back to the question. So I'm now coming back to the question. And I'm going to tie that into the social life, the fun life, because you've talked about your core, what you really love doing, helping people, especially in the field that you are in. How do you unwind? Because I want to tie how you unwind to self-care, how you look after yourself. What are the fun things you used to do then, or you still continue now? Please tell me you have fun.
I do. I do have lots of fun. I go to the
Fantastic.
gym a lot, and I go to the gym in Grove Park,
Okay.
near where I used to work. I go to the jacuzzi, I go to the steam and the sauna, and I go out a lot with friends and family. I take my grandchildren out we go a lot to the parks, around Lewisham, and we go for long walks as well because they're very into football. Yeah, they're into sports and stuff. We go to a club down in Blackham Place Park. So so they play football there, and they used to play tennis, but it's not there now. But so yeah, we go for lots of walking through Lewisham.
Somebody will be listening to that and say, really? She goes to the gym to relax? I really need to go to the gym. I don't want to go to the gym, but somebody goes to the gym
Oh,
to relax. That is
I do.
amazing. Because I'm also talking about sacrifice. I'm also talking about impact. And sometimes you are in a space and you don't even know how much impact. But based on what you do, you definitely have created a lot of impact within your area of specialty, which is a very, very sensitive one as well. What do you miss about your profession? Because now you're retired. Do you miss it? I know we're going to talk about your work as a volunteer because I'd really love, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to, doing that for so long, how easy or difficult was it to detach and say, do you know what, now I've done my bit and it's time to do something else.
Oh my God, although I've retired from palliative care, I still do 2 half days a week, Monday and Tuesday, and I work with children with special needs. So it's mainly that I go and do the assessment so that they can have a care package. So I work in children community care and visit them because these are children under 18 that are born with an illness,
Mm.
or they develop the illness as children, like it could have been an accident. So they've got chronic illnesses and they need a lot of help from school. So I go and assess for the care package so the parents can have some help. So some of the children's got a trachea or they've got vents, but they can still be at home. But the parents need some respite. So I get the care package so the parents can have some rest at night time, and we put in carers at night time, and they may have one-to-one at schools, and all the facilities, or the things that they couldn't have from the government, from the NHS, they can get special help. So I help to facilitate that. So I still working as a nurse in a sense with children 2 days a week, and I love doing it. And although I could work from home, I go into the office the Monday and Tuesday because I just love meeting people. And also when I visit, I just love seeing the children. I go to the schools as well sometimes to see how they're getting on. I work with the speech and language therapies with their social workers or anybody that's involved with their care. And I still haven't kind of detached myself as yet from nursing.
I mean, for what you're saying, I can't see that happening. Though it will evolve. And that takes me into Hummingbird because you're also there, which is how we met for this particular
Mm.
project. So again, it's a different kind of care. What took you there? What was the incentive? I know you did mention that Claire was looking for volunteers, but there are a variety of things that can be done within the volunteering section. What part of the volunteering drew you that you are engaged or involved in?
I'm engaged in quite a bit of it. And what drew me, as I say, I just wanted to meet people and to still learn as well, learn new things, and do be new adventures as well. I didn't want to sit at home and although I go to the gym, I still didn't want to sit at home and do nothing. I wanted to meet people. And I help out in the kitchen, which I love doing, meeting people at the door, just saying hello. We go out on outings, which I love doing. And there's also the opportunity to, as I say, to go to different places. They do walks. I haven't been able to do the walks with them because I do walks with my grandchildren, and also I'm working on a Monday. And then when I go on a Friday, it's just very vibrant. Although it's supposed to be senior citizen, I don't think they want to call themselves senior citizens because they are so vibrant and there's lots of music and there's such a lot to do. When I get home, I'm exhausted because, there's such a lot to do standing up and just meeting people. And they are a really, really friendly, lovely bunch of people, and they're from all walks of life. And it's just really nice being with them. And that just I do look forward to Friday, and I keep telling people when I go to the gym, and they said, "Oh, why are you rushing off so early?" Because I have to leave by 9:30 because I get there early. And I said, I've got to go to this place. So I'm telling lots of people about it, and I'm sure I'm not the one that why lots of people are coming, but there's so much people there, and lots of people that I know have been coming. So it's just a lovely place to be.
I was blown away when I came
Yeah.
through the doors. I was like, oh my days, is there a party happening here? Because there were
Mm.
so many, and the feel within the room and the dancing,
Mm.
just that feel, that welcome feel, that
Mm-hmm.
joy. I wouldn't say happiness, I'll actually say joy because there's a big
It's
difference
joy.
between happiness and joy. There
Yeah.
was that joy that exuded around that
Mm.
environment. And I was like, wow, you wear different hats. You wear the hat of I'll still say you're a nurse in different capacities. You also care. There are people that go, do you know what? I'm retired. I'm done. What do you say to people to say there is more to life? Get up and do
Yeah.
something because sometimes
Yeah.
we think retirement, like you said, they didn't want to be called senior citizens. They didn't want to be called senior citizens because we are very youthful at heart. If
Yeah.
somebody's there thinking, you go to the gym, what? What would you say to somebody who, especially who's retired and thinking, this is it. All I need to do is to sit down, watch TV.
Gosh, I see some of the ladies and the gentlemen there, and they come in with aches and pains, or they say they've got aches and pains, and they have truly got aches and pains. But when they get up and move and dance, and that experience, the joy of dancing and meeting people, the fellowship, that just takes away a lot of their aches and pains. And movement is your medicine, and I think that's what a lot of them feel, just to move will help. Sometimes they might not even need medication, the painkillers. They're moving, and that just helps the joints to flow and to move. And yeah, I've seen some of them come out there, like, just walking like they're walking on air after they've been there, because it is lovely. The fellowship there is a joy, and Claire and all the other volunteers, it's really, really nice that everybody is just so friendly and so welcoming. It is a joy being there, and I really do look forward to it. And I do go away sometimes, away on holiday, and I really miss it. I really do. I really do miss it.
I
Mm.
actually saw a community, and what I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say to those that are thinking, find a place. I don't know what, because that place was full. I don't know whether you have a waiting
Mm,
list or whatever, but even if it's not Hummingbird, find a place, get
mm,
out, because as you
mm,
said, even with your aches and pains,
mm,
you can
mm,
live in the room and
mm,
get some
mm,
energy. And I love the fact that I think one of what I'm just saying, I'm going to ask you the question, what do you think are your strengths? I know I can say a couple of them, but one thing I know is there's a power in communication and relationship, in
mm.
being in the midst of socializing and being in the midst of people. What would you say are your core strengths?
Although I'm quite a shy person, I think I do love communicating with the people there. I love communicating with everyone, and just being there as well. And and somebody can come up and ask you a question, and you're able to answer it. That's just puts a joy on my face, really. Yeah, I think my strength really is just feeling caring for people and just being there, so I can help in any way I can.
So we're gonna end where we started, and it's talking about Lewisham. I mean,
Yeah.
you've lived Lewisham. Lewisham has lived through you as well. What would you say about Lewisham to anybody who asks you, going, you've lived in Lewisham, why have you not ventured out? What is it about Lewisham that you love so much? And I'm asking that question because that's a question that maybe the grandchildren will ask you, going, why are we in Lewisham? What is it about Lewisham that has kept you, even though it's where you are, but you could
Mm.
have gone somewhere else?
I haven't been anywhere else to live as such. Only when I was doing my nursing, I lived in London, and that was all built up. But in Lewisham, you can drive a few miles, and probably not even drive. You can, and although it's built up, there's lots of greenery. There
Yeah.
is so much greenery and so much trees. Yeah, and you need trees as well for the oxygen to breathe. All of that is beautiful. It's just lovely. Yeah, I just love the greenery in Lewisham. And although a lot of I know the cinemas closed down. I'm hoping that they're going to bring that back. The theatre is still going there.
Yes.
We've got a theatre. That's
Yes. Actually, we
so
do
good.
have a cinema. I don't know, was it, is it, you had a cinema within the shopping mall? Is it still
Yeah, there is still a small one. I forgot about that one. Yeah, I was just thinking at that
the big?
big
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
right
yeah.
just before you got to the hummingbird. It was there.
Yes,
Yeah, it was
yes.
just so that you could see it. Whereas the one inside is you can't see, it's out of the way. But it's still really lovely actually, because I've been there a couple of times to see some films and sit down and have something to eat, and it is lovely.
Yeah.
It is really nice. So yeah, but the greenery around Lewisham, you haven't got to go far to see trees and grass, and whereas some places you go and it's just built up on concrete and
Yeah.
nothing to kind of look forward to. So yeah.
Absolutely. And we're talking about you. We're talking about the fact that you have history and you have a journey in Lewisham. And really, that's what we are celebrating. We're
Mm,
celebrating the fact that you love where you've been, where you are. You
mm,
love Lewisham. You've not
mm,
only loved Lewisham, you've given back to Lewisham, and you continue to give back to Lewisham. And
mm,
that's really why I feel that Claire made a great choice. in spotlighting you and letting us hear about your journey, what you do. Is there anything about Lewisham that I have not asked that you would love to say as we round up?
There's all different types of nationality in Lewisham. It's very cultured. You can get different types of food as well, West Indian food, African food, Turkish food. It's so vibrant. Wherever you go, you haven't got far to go as well to see the many culture in Lewisham, around Lewisham. So it's a very, very vibrant place. Because I care for my mum as well. She's got senile dementia. There's a place that I go for carers which look after you, and we meet up as well, and that's just lovely as well. It's just nice to meet up and meet people that's caring, and that's in Lewisham, and they're doing a lot for carers as well, which is really nice, and I really enjoy that.
Well, it's really
Yeah.
been nice spending time and listening to you and listening to your impact that you may not necessarily have looked at. So I've given you time to reflect on your impact in Lewisham. And I want to use you as a catalyst to celebrate every other person who does what you do within your sphere of influence, to say thank you for not just
Mm,
taking from Lewisham, but bringing back into Lewisham what Lewisham has possibly given you an opportunity to have, and you are still giving. So you
mm,
represent the volunteers, you represent the people within that nursing area, and we just want to say thank you for doing what you do for Lewisham.
mm,
Continue the gymming,
mm,
continue the caring, and continue doing what you want to do. I mean, I may throw this in, even though we've ended
mm.
the major part of the interview because it's about celebrating you. But I wanted to play around with the word Windrush and wanted to find out, did that have any effect on you? What does that mean to you?
Mm.
What has happened since? Have you seen change? What does that bring to mind for you?
Well, my parents came here during the Windrush, although they came on a plane, and my mum came here and she did nursing, so she gave a lot back, because that's what they wanted people to come to help with the nursing, to help on the buses and trains, and so yeah. So I think our parents that came in and did a lot. My dad wasn't able to work on the buses because he had difficulty with his eyesight. But he was a park ranger and he gave a lot back into the park and stuff. So I think we've got a lot to thank our foreparents for, that give so much to England, that left their country, didn't know what, because my parents didn't know what they were coming for, really.
Yeah.
What, and in fact, they did come and felt, because my dad says, I'm going to go back, I'm going back in a few years, I'm going back, I'm not staying here, I'm not staying here. But sadly, he died when he was 58, and that's a
Mm.
really young age,
Yeah.
leaving my mum with 6 children. I was the eldest. England has they've had a lot from us, and we've given a lot as
Mm.
well. So we need to celebrate that, and we need to kind of help our young children, our young people, to recognize that, and see how hard, our parents and work. And I know that our young people are working hard, but it's good to push them as well, so that they can do a lot more, or to do better as well, so that they recognize that we are the generation that helped them or started it for them. And I think my children do recognize that sometimes. They do recognize it, and my children have worked really hard, and a lot of children work. I think we need to push them a bit more, maybe.
Also, on the back of pushing, I
Mm,
feel it's recognizing, because it's when we talk about just that couple of sentences that you talked about, the Windrush creates an awareness. So it's
mm,
really about awareness, so that history
hmm.
can continue and so that we don't forget, it doesn't get
Yes.
lost. And I feel that
Yeah.
the grandchildren cannot be around you and not hear history. And
Yeah.
I feel that that's what
Mm,
it's really about, to say
hmm.
it was a give and take.
Hmm.
However, you need to remember the foundation and
Yes.
live and build on that
Yeah.
foundation,
Hmm.
so that the legacy of what was started
Can go on.
continues. And I
Hmm.
feel that that is a powerful message. And
Hmm.
your journey, your
Hmm.
story is a real great case study from
Mhm.
generation to generation, 3, 4 generations now you're talking about,
Yeah.
and still within Lewisham, but doing
Mhm.
amazing things.
But I also want to thank Hummingbird and thank Claire and thank all the volunteers and the other people that built up Hummingbird, because it's, they've done a fantastic job. It's such a good place to be. It's going to get bigger and bigger. I don't know how they're going to be able to contain it because it's just flourishing and it's just a really lovely place to be. And thank you, Claire. And thanks Hummingbird, and they've won an award as well. So
Absolutely.
congratulations.
Congratulations. Hummingbird Club is a community because I
Yes.
walked through and I went, oh my days. I felt I was in a whole new environment.
Mhm.
We wanted to count the number of years in that room. We're going to lose count because we're
Yeah.
talking about thousands of years of wisdom,
Yes.
of journey, of
Yes.
case studies
Mhm.
in one place, living legacy in the room. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's going to expand. And that space is already maxed out. So I don't
Yeah.
know yeah.
Well, maybe Lewisham need to find them a space, a
Yeah,
bigger space somewhere.
absolutely. It has maxed out. And I'm so grateful that I've got the opportunity because even though I have lived in Lewisham, for over 20 odd years, I've also schooled, I've studied, I've done a lot, and I've always consistently brought back to Lewisham. But being able to hear from you and
Oh,
the lineage all the way down, I think this is a story that will inspire other people because we haven't talked about challenges because there always are challenges. Because sometimes we hear about certain parts of the country and you hear a different narrative. So it's really nice to hear that, yes, in life there are ups, there are downs, there are challenges, but there are also memories, and there's great foundation that is being built on through stories like yours, through stories of Hummingbird as a whole, because everybody in that room has a story. They have a history
oh
that
yeah,
started within here.
yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's been really, really great having conversation with you. And I know that people who would be listening to this later will be saying, I did not know that about Pauline.
Oh,
Really? I just thought this, I just thought that. So now you might get other people going, I want to follow you to the gym now. We didn't know you did that as well. Yeah, you've really talked about some really hard stuff, but you've spoken about them in a really, really caring way. And I know there might be somebody listening and going, this is what I need. I didn't even know this existed. Where could I go? And they're living in Lewisham and maybe not even in Lewisham. Where would somebody who has what you've described, looking after people in their latter days and with children, you also talk about the volunteering work that you do
Mhm.
on Monday and Tuesday. Where would people go to find such support?
Yeah.
Anybody is in that position and they've heard this and they're thinking, where do they signpost themselves to? It might not be them directly, but they might know of somebody. They might be having somebody within their care that they feel needs such.
I went into palliative care initially
Mm,
because, and I think when I went to St. Christopher, I was the only Black clinical nurse specialist there. And many people don't want to talk about death and dying because then I know that the GPs kind of gatekeep as well. So they didn't refer Black people to palliative care to get that care and support that they need. So I think I went in there to be one of a window for, and to see that people can be cared for at home. And a lot of the things that we did was to go into their homes and give them that support, make sure that they're signposted to the right network. I met a lady and she came in to see us at Hummingbird and she wanted to talk about Black cancer care. I think a lot of people don't know about that. A lot of people keep their illness to themselves, but there is a lot of support out there. And if we signpost them to the right direction, like to the Black cancer care, even come into Hummingbird, there's so much information there that you can get. So Claire has got lots of information that we can give to people that can signpost them to the different agencies that are involved. So I don't know if that answers your
fantastic.
question.
So it does. So again, we're signposting people to Hummingbird. So if you need anything, that would be your first point of call. Claire will put you in
Yeah.
trouble, but hey, what can we say? So you can't be in a good place and keep it all to yourself. So we're telling
No,
other people,
no, no.
Even if they haven't got space, they will still signpost you to where you need to go if you need help. So
I
it's
think so.
yeah.
I hope
Well,
so.
we've just announced
Maybe
it here.
if I'm saying
So
the wrong
that's why I
thing.
said, Claire, we put you into more trouble, but hey, more awards are on its way.
And also, when I went to the carers support as well, they've got lots of information for carers and people that are caring for loved ones as well. So they've got lots of information, and they could sign you to that to the right place there as well. But I'm happy to speak to anyone. If I don't know, I can find out.
See, that's the caring self coming
Yeah,
out again. Where there's a will, there's a way. Even if people don't know where to go, when they know what to ask for,
yeah,
even with their GP, they would now know where to go. But if you
yeah,
didn't even know
yeah.
it existed, it's
Mhm,
hard for you to even find out.
mhm,
So I think it's the awareness that is key. We're creating awareness and then giving people the opportunity to ask
mhm,
their GP or then come to Hummingbird and find out where to
mhm.
go. And then speak to Pauline. Why not? I think we'll end it there before we get into more trouble. Thank you for the privilege and the opportunity for going through the keyhole, finding more about you. And I definitely would be back to have
Oh, thank
fun
you.
at the club.
Thank you. I'll see you then. Thank you
See you
so much.
there.
Thank